Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Empowered Minds Mental Health Workshop for parents and adolescents, hosted by the Shining Light Children's Foundation. So this is our very first session. This is the adolescent session, and later on, we'll be having the parent session. I'll be taking the adolescent session, and for the parent session, we'll be having a family psychologist, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Ogukonmi. So welcome everybody. My name is Daniela Ibikiri. I am the Executive Director of Shining Light Children's Foundation, the host of this program. I am a teens coach and I am a youth mental wellness specialist. I'm also a life purpose coach. I help guide and educate teenagers on mental wellness. I help them find clarity, build their self-esteem and confidence, discover who they are and their God's given purpose, and also grow in faith. Yeah. So on the 10th of October, the world celebrated World Mental Health Day. Yeah. Mental health is very important for everyone, both teenagers, parents, young adults, children, and every person. When we say mental health, a lot of people don't understand what mental health is. And that is what we'll be talking about today. There's a lot of stigma around mental health, especially in this part of the world. Yes. When somebody talks about mental, like it just seems as if, okay, somebody is crazy or you're not okay and all that. No, that is not what mental health is all about. And we're going to talk about that. And for adolescents, having a good mental health is very, very, very important for your overall well-being. I'm going to share my slide now. Understanding adolescents' mental health. So when we talk about mental health, does anybody really know what mental health is?
Actually, I don't know. I don't understand this.
You don't know. Okay, is there anybody else? Okay, let's go to the next slide. So what is mental health? Mental health encompasses our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Your mental health encompasses your emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It has to do with how you think, your feelings, and how you act. So your thinking cognition, that's psychological. Your feelings, that's emotional. And how you act, that's social, behavioral. Yes, that is just what mental health is all about. The ability for you to think well, for you to regulate your emotions, and for you to act properly in a proper way, behave in a well accepted way. Yes, that's just what mental health is all about. If you can think very well, if you can regulate your emotions and you can act properly, then that means you have a good mental health. So your mental health impacts your stress tolerance. It impacts your relationships, peer connections, and also decision making. An adolescent with a good mental health thinks very well, can be able to regulate their emotions, and they can act properly. I know a lot of people, when they hear mental health, like I said earlier, they think about mental health as mental illness. It is not the same. When I say, oh, my mental health is being affected, no, it's just that you can't be able to think properly, you can't act well, and you can't regulate your emotions properly. That, like I said, yeah, it impacts your stress tolerance, your ability to manage stress, your relationships. If you don't have good mental health, it will affect your relationship with your peers, families, everyone around you. You can't be able to make the right decisions. Yes, so as an adolescent, you need to have a good mental health. research shows that mental disorders starts from age 14. So you don't have to wait till you get to age 14 for you to be able to maintain a good mental health. You start as early as possible as a child. That's why parents are there to support their children's mental health. As a child, as you're growing, as an adolescent from age 10, you start taking care of your mental health, because when you don't do, then you end up having mental disorders, and we're going to be talking about that. Your mental health is as important as your physical health. The way you take care of your physical health, the way you go to a doctor when you're sick, that is how you should also take care of your mental health. If you're not thinking properly, you have distorted thoughts, then that calls for alert. You should take care of your mental health. If you're not able to regulate your emotions, if you're not able to behave properly, then it calls for you seeking help. That means your mental health is not good enough. So why is mental health important for adolescents? Number one, academic success. When you have good mental health, you succeed in your academics. You're able to think well, you have a good memory, you'll be able to cope with the academic stress. So when you have good mental health, you would achieve academic success. Number two, healthy relationships. When you have a good mental health, it would enable you to cultivate healthy relationships. That means you'll be able to communicate well with the people in your life. You will be able to regulate your emotions. So having good mental health would enable you to have good relationships. Another one is prevention of risky behaviors. Teenagers are prone to engaging in risky behaviors. When I say risky behaviors, it could be self-harm, substance abuse, sexual engagements, alcohol, things like that. Yes. So to be able to prevent all those things, you need to have good mental health, because when you have a poor mental health, it would make you to involve in risky behaviors. And teenagers are prone to engaging in risky behaviors because of their brain formation. In case you don't know, the part of the brain responsible for thinking, planning, reasoning is called the prefrontal cortex. It's not fully developed. So that's why teenagers just go ahead to engage in risky behaviors, because of their brain formation. So when you have a good mental health, you'll be able to prevent yourself from engaging in risky behaviors. Another one is good decision making. Good mental health would enable you to make good decisions. When you have poor mental health, you won't be able to think properly. Thereby, you won't be able to make good decisions in your academics, in your relationships, in your life generally. You won't be able to decide properly. So you need to have a good mental health so that you can be able to make good decisions. And also, having a good mental health would enable you to build self-esteem and confidence. When we talk about self-esteem has to do with the way you value yourself, how you feel about yourself. Then confidence has to do with believing in yourself and your capabilities. When you have a good mental health, you would value yourself. You would also believe in yourself and your capabilities. So that's another reason why, as an adolescent, you need to have a good mental health. And also, it is good for your physical health. Mental health impacts physical health. When you have a poor mental health, it will affect your physical health. You see yourself having lots of headaches and different other things. Poor mental health can affect your physical health and your overall well-being, because mental health really has to do with every aspect of your life. So When you have a good mental health, you can function in every aspect of your life. So we've talked about mental health. So this is mental disorders. So what is mental disorder? Mental disorders are conditions that affect your emotional, behavioral, and cognitive functioning. It disrupts your daily life, your relationships, and development. When you're not able to think well, when you're not able to regulate your emotions, when you're not able to behave well. Yes, your cognitive, that has to do with your thinking. You can't be able to think well. You can't behave well. You can't regulate your emotions. There's a possibility that there is a mental disorder. But it's also common in teenage behavior, adolescence. So sometimes you might get confused that, okay, this is like a typical adolescent behavior. It might not be a mental disorder. So the intensity of the issues would now let you know that, okay, this is actually a mental disorder. And if it takes time, like up to 2 weeks and above, then you can say you have a mental disorder. So what are some common mental disorders in adolescents? Anxiety. Does anybody know what anxiety is?
Anxiety means when you're like worried about something.
Oh, yes. Excessive worry. That means you're anxious, you're worried excessively. It might be in the society, like going out there, socializing with people, get you worried. That is anxiety. And this is like the major mental disorder in adolescents. Yes, anxiety. Then the other one is depression. Because of time, let me just go. Depression. Depression is a state of long sadness, persistent sadness from 2 weeks and above. That means you're depressed. It also affects your well-being, your relationships, your mood, and all that. When you're sad, when you're hopeless, when you believe you're worthless, those are like symptoms of depression. Some people just say, I'm depressed, I'm depressed. It doesn't necessarily mean you're depressed, but when this persists for like 2 weeks and above, then you can say you're depressed. When you're sad for a very long period of time, you feel hopeless, you feel worthless, then we can say you are depressed. And this is another major mental disorder in adolescents, depression. Then we have attention deficit hyperactive disorder. That is like you can't pay attention to things and you're over hyperactive. If you've seen children like that, they're everywhere. They're hyperactive. They find it difficult to sleep. They're always there. They're going from one place to another. Even in the classroom, they can't stay at a place. They are very hyperactive and they find it difficult to focus. Yes, they find it difficult to pay attention to things. That is what we call ADHD. It is common in adolescents. Then eating disorders, when you're eating too much or when you don't want to eat at all, that is eating disorder. It's either you're eating too much or you don't eat at all. When they say come and eat, no, 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 I don't want to eat. Or you see yourself eating, then you have an eating disorder. Then number 5, substance use disorder. When we talk about substance use, we're talking about drugs, alcohol, cigarettes. Yes, a lot of teenagers are into drugs right now. Yes, a whole lot of them. They are doing drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, weed, marijuana. Yes. So that is a mental disorder as well. Substance use disorder. People who take codeine, teenagers, just to get high. A lot of teenagers are abusing drugs. Normal drugs that you use for painkillers, they are using it as for them to get high and all that. No, that is called substance use disorder. Behavioral disorders, when you're not behaving behaving appropriately, then that is called behavioral disorder. You're breaking rules. You're being defiant, like you're supposed to do this and everybody is doing this, the right thing, but you're going that way. Misconduct. You don't follow traffic rules, you're breaking rules, you're behaving in a strange way, then you have behavioral disorder. That is a mental disorder as well. Then post-traumatic stress disorder. Maybe you've gone through a traumatic event, something happened like sexual abuse, domestic violence, something happened to you. Maybe you lost a part of yourself, just like me. When I lost the full functioning of my sight, it was traumatic and it now led to post-traumatic stress disorder. So just thinking about it, you're stressed, you're traumatized. So those are some mental disorders that are common in adolescents. So causes of mental disorders. What causes teenagers to have and adolescents to have mental disorders? Number one, biological factors. Another biological factors, we have genetics. When I say genetics, I mean like you can get it from your parents, your relatives. A parent that has had a mental disorder, it is most likely that one of the children would also have a mental disorder, like depression. A parent that has suffered from depression, and our child might most likely suffer from depression. Yes, that is genetics. So that can cause mental disorder in adolescents. Brain chemistry. There are hormones in the brain. Yes. So imbalanced proportion of those neurotransmitters, they are called neurotransmitters. They regulate your sleep, yes, how you sleep, your motivations and all that. Like serotonin impact how you sleep. Then dopamine, we've heard of dopamine, like the feel-good hormone. People call it the feel-good hormone. It motivates you. So when you have an imbalanced proportion of that, it can cause a mental disorder. It can affect your mental health. Then hormonal changes. As an adolescent, because you're undergoing puberty, your hormones are changing. That can affect your mental health as well. Then neurological development. Your brain is not fully formed. The thinking part of the brain is not fully developed compared to the emotional part of the brain. That is the amygdala. So you're prone to, acting with your emotions, and it can cause like low self-esteem. You can start having distorted thinking, you're not thinking right. Yes, because your prefrontal cortex is not fully developed. So when you're not thinking right, that can lead to a mental disorder. Like we said, mental health is how you think, the way you feel, and the way you act. So when you're not thinking right, it can lead to mental disorder. The environmental factors like trauma. When you've gone through a traumatic event, it can cause mental disorder. Academic stress. Your academic, it is stressful. I have gone through school. Yes, so we know it is very, very stressful, and that can lead to mental disorder. Then family dynamics. When we talk about family dynamics, what is the happenings in the family? What is going on at home? When the family, there's something going on in the family that is not right, it can affect the children's mental health. It can affect your mental health as an adolescent. So family dynamics can also cause mental disorders. Then social economic. People that, okay, say I'm from a poor home, it can also affect your mental health because you're thinking that you're not good enough. You are low, you're not up to standard. There are a lot of rich kids around you, so you don't feel okay. That can affect your mental well-being. I remember growing up, I am from a humble family, like, yes, we didn't have much, like, so that affected me. I would say, like, little anxiety, like I don't want to go out to places where we have like good rich kids and all those kind of things. It affected me. So your economic status can affect your mental health. Yes. And also medical, conditions like disability and all that. When you face discrimination, especially with disabilities, face discrimination. A teenager with a disability facing discrimination, it can affect that teenager's mental health. Yes. To me, when I lost the full functionality of my sight, it affected my mental health a whole lot. Yes. So if an adolescent becomes a person with disability, it can affect that adolescent's mental health. So social pressures as well, like, oh, you have to be this way, you have to act like this. We have pressures anywhere. Social media, you people are fond of using social media. You want to engage. And when you think that you're not good enough, you go to social media, you see fake pictures, filtered pictures, and you feel like you're not you don't belong. It affects your mental health. That's why you need to control your social media use. Yes, it impacts your mental well-being. And the society expects you to look a certain way. You feel like you're not fine, you don't have the right shape, or you don't have much followers on social media, or there is pressure for you to become a medical doctor, a lawyer, and all those kind of things. That affects your mental health. So social pressures can also affect adolescent mental health. Psychological factors, low self-esteem. Low self-esteem is not a mental disorder, but it can cause you to have a mental disorder. And I said earlier that low self-esteem is the way you value yourself, how you think you are, what you think about yourself. So when you have a low self-esteem, a negative perception of yourself, it will affect your mental health. It can lead to a mental disorder because you think you're not good enough. Every day you're thinking you're not good enough. It will lead to depression and it will lead to anxiety. You'll be depressed. You'll be anxious to go out to meet other people. So low self-esteem leads to mental disorder. Poor coping skills. If you're not able to bounce back when you're passing through difficult moments, academic stress, you've not learned how to cope, that can also affect your mental health. It can cause mental disorder. Then identity struggles. This is a period where adolescents form identity. Yes, this is a period when you try to understand who you are. You try to, have a perception of who you are, understand who you are. So identity crisis, when you don't know who you are, it can lead to a mental disorder. You feel depressed, you be anxious, you start behaving unruly because you don't know who you are. You've not come into the full knowledge of who you are. So identity struggles can also cause mental disorders. Yeah, so these are some things that can cause mental disorders in adolescents. And this can also lead to suicide. A lot of teenagers, research has shown that high death rate in adolescents is caused by suicide. Yes, a lot of teenagers don't know who they are. They struggle. And that's why you need to start speaking out. Yes, they struggle with mental disorders and they can't speak out. They can't speak out, leading them to, committing suicide, taking their own lives because they are struggling because of the whole stigma, shame around mental health. That's why I am so passionate about mental health. I want to educate people about mental health. I want to guide and support teenagers on their mental well-being. Because when you have a good mental health, then you can cope well with life. So our theme has to do with breaking mental barriers. What are mental barriers? They are thoughts and beliefs that stop you from reaching your full potential. Those thoughts, those beliefs that stop you from reaching your full potential, that stop you from having good mental health. What are those things? Some common mental barriers are stigma and shame. Like I said earlier, in this part of our country, People stigmatize people that are going through mental health crisis. So a lot of teenagers are ashamed that if I talk about how I'm feeling, that, oh, I actually think I'm depressed. I'm actually anxious to go to school. I'm actually anxious to talk to people. I'm having identity struggles because of stigma. People don't speak up. Teenagers don't speak up. They are ashamed to talk because people would shame them. People would stigmatize them. So it will make you not to reach your full potential. Another thing is fear of judgment. Like, people will judge me. If I speak out, people will judge me. If I say I'm feeling this way, if I say my mental health is affected, people will judge me. Negative self-talk, it's a mental barrier. Limiting beliefs. I am not good enough. I don't have any potentials. I am not valuable. I am not worthy. Nobody cares about me. Nobody loves me. Those are mental barriers. And if you start thinking that way, those limiting beliefs, then you will not reach your full potential. Number 5, social media and peer pressure. You want to fit in. You want to be like the next person, your friend. Social media, a lot of things going on there. All those things would stop you from reaching your full potential. So how do you break those barriers? Self-awareness, be aware. Be aware of your emotions. How are you feeling? What am I thinking about myself? What are those limiting beliefs? I am not good enough. I can't do this. I don't have any values. I don't have any skills. Be aware of those negative self-talks and limiting beliefs. Challenge those negative self-talks. Challenge them. No, whenever those thoughts come, because if you leave them, it will lead to mental disorder. If you compile those negative self-talks, like me, when I lost my sight, I'll be having negative self-talk. I am worthless. I am not good enough. I don't belong. I can't do anything. I'm not capable. So that led to, me becoming suicidal and all. Yeah, so if you don't challenge those negative self-talks, it will lead to you having mental disorders. So challenge those negative self-talk. Replace them with positive affirmations. I am good enough. I am strong. I am capable. I am lovable. I am worthy. I am valuable. I have potential. Start affirming yourself. Go to the word of God and affirm yourself with God's word. Seek help. Get knowledge about mental health. That's why you're here, to hear about mental health. It is very, very important. Your mind is the battlefield. The mind is the battlefield. A lot of negative thoughts, a lot of thoughts going on. It is criticizing you. So you need to take care of your mind so that you can think well, you can act well, you can relate well with people. Seek help. Seek help from trusted adults. Who do you trust? Your family. If you don't trust your parents, there are adults that you can trust. You need trusted adults. You need mentors. You need coaches. You need counselors. You need to bond with your family. Have that parent-child relationship. Yes, so that you can actually reach out to your parents and talk to them about what you're going through. So that's how you can break those mental barriers. So one key aspect for teenagers is resilience, building resilience. And what is resilience? You need to build resilience. It is very important. I didn't have resilience when I went through what I went through. I was not able to cope with the challenge, becoming a visually impaired person. What is resilience? Being able to bounce back from challenges and being able to cope. The ability to bounce back from setbacks and the ability to cope with challenges. When something happened, let me give you an example. In class, the academic stress, academic struggles, oh my God, today is so hectic. And you had an hectic day in school. For you to be able to bounce back, that's resilience. You need to cultivate, it's like muscle. When you go for gym, yes, you're developing your muscle. You need to develop resilience. You need to develop that resilience. So you'll be able to bounce back. Relationships, when you have conflicts with your friends, family, you need to bounce back. Don't dwell in that conflict. When challenges come, you need to learn how to adapt to those challenges. So how do you build resilience as an adolescent? Set realistic goals. Set realistic goals. Don't set goals that are ambiguous. Smart goals, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time bound. Set realistic goals. When you set goals, you can be able to build resilience. Learn how to problem solve. Develop problem solving skills. That would help you to build resilience. Positive connections. Some of us, friendship, this is the period where you build friendship. And your friendships, you have to have positive relationships with your friends, with your family. When you have positive connections, it helps you to build resilience and learn adaptability, be able to adapt. There are some personalities that find it difficult to adapt to changes, like some of the introverts, like the phlegmatics. They find it difficult to adapt. They're so rigid, one way, one way. Learn adaptability and have a growth mindset. I can actually grow. Don't have a fixed mindset. Okay, this thing has happened. Learn from mistakes. I can actually grow. I can actually learn from this situation, and I can actually grow. Yes. So those are some ways you build resilience. So how do you strengthen your mental health? Here are some ways you can strengthen your mental health. Sleep. Sleeping is very, very necessary. If you don't have adequate sleep, it will affect your mental health. As teenagers, you need like 9 to 10 hours. Sleep. Leave phones. Leave your phones. Go to sleep on time and wake up on time so you prepare for the next task ahead, the next day, for your academics and all. So you have to have adequate sleep. It would help you with your mental health. Eat balanced diet. Eat healthy meals. Balanced diet. It's good for your mental health as well. Exercise. Me, I can be lazy, but I know like whenever I'm exercising, I just have this good feeling. When you exercise, it is good for the brain. It is good for your mental health. So exercise is another thing that you can use to strengthen your mental health. Supportive relationship. It will protect you from having mental disorders. Yes, supportive relationship. Parents should support you, your friends, the kind of relationship you have, your friends should be positive relationship. Have a strong sense of identity and you have a sense of purpose. You know who you are. Identity crisis, like I said earlier, would make you to have mental health crisis. So when you have a strong sense of who you are, you have a good positive perception of who you are, and you have a sense of purpose. Having purpose, knowing why you exist, would make you have a good mental health. It protects you from having mental disorders. You wake up and you're motivated. You're looking for the next thing to do. Yes, I actually know where I'm going to in life. I actually know who I am. So that would strengthen your mental health. There are some ways. So in conclusion, your mental health is very important. Remember to break mental barriers, build resilience every day. Those positive steps you take every day can make the difference. It will make you feel strong and balanced. You need mental health to thrive. So seek help when necessary. Do not keep quiet. Speak out. I kept quiet for so long. That's why I became suicidal and all that. I didn't know who to talk to. Seek help. There are professionals, mental health professionals. There are counselors. There are a lot of people there to help you with your mental health struggles. Talk to your family. Parents, we need to understand that our adolescents need to speak out. They need to get the necessary help that they need. So seek help when necessary. Build a positive mental health as it will help you for your overall well-being. Thank you very much for being here. We'll continue this discussion on the license coaching platform. So any question? You want to know how teenagers can find their passion? Okay, you can find your passion by exploring different things. Yes, you might not really know, but when you try out new things, then one thing might just resonate with you and that would build passion. Then you can become passionate about it. So explore new things, try different things, hobbies, sports, it can be writing, whatever thing, try out new things. Then your values, what are those things you value? Your values can also ignite your passion. Yes. What are those activities you find interesting? When you're hearing about them, when you're doing them, when you're engaging in them, it gives you that raise, that feeling that wow, I really love what I'm doing. Yes, those things that don't drain you, but it boosts your energy. Those are like things that you become passionate about. It might just start from interest. I think I'm interested in sports. I think I'm interested in this game, and think I'm interested in writing. So from there, it can grow into passion. So just try to explore different things, it can lead to passion. When you follow your passion, engage in things you're passionate about, it can boost your mental health, then to make you have a good mental health. Thank you to all teenagers, adolescents that joined this session.